Joining me this morning is Ron Mitchell. He was the CEO and co-founder of Alumni Athlete Network. Now he is the CEO and co-founder of Got a Mentor.
We see unemployment probably reaching about 7% probably by the end of the year, and next year maybe 9%, and then even continuing into 2010 and hitting double digits. The only real growing sector of the economy today for a lot of these professional service kids is the U.S. government. I mean, the U.S. government will be hiring a tremendous number of young people in the next few years. So they need to readjust their salary expectations, their expectations of control over their environment and where they live, and think about opportunities probably in the public sector. The issue here is we have an entirely different labor force. 75% of our workforce today is professional service or service sector. The jobs that need to be created cannot necessarily all be infrastructure jobs. Sure, we can build more schools, we can build more roads, we can fix bridges, but a lot of those jobs need to be in the service sector.
You've all heard the phrase dumb jock, but there's a relatively new organization, the Alumni Athlete Network, which aims to end that perception and place college athletes on Wall Street.
The organization was really born out of my own experiences and, frankly, frustrations as a student athlete. I played basketball at Harvard, captain of the team, first team All-Ivy, and also a pretty good student. Yet I found that in the recruiting process, it was actually very difficult for me. I had to negotiate with my coach just to get out of practice to go and interview with companies like J.P. Morgan, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs. So athletes don't even get the exposure to the career opportunities, nor get the chance to do a lot of that important networking that allows people to move forward in the job recruiting process.
And Ron just got back from the Olympic Games, was in Beijing in China for the first time. You look great. What was it like being there?
It was a truly amazing experience. I have to take my hat off to the Chinese. I've never seen a city that was so all about a single event, more so than any place in the United States. They shut down the traffic patterns. They shut down factories. There were beautiful blue skies in Beijing, believe it or not.
Shockingly.
It was shocking. And of course, the games were phenomenal. What I hear from people over in China is that the Chinese do not do a very good job of maintaining facilities after the fact. So it'll be interesting to go back after a couple of years and see what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What an amazing trip. I'm very jealous.
The Olympics are really about the stories. And this Olympic Games brought about a couple of great stories. There's obviously the Michael Phelps story. There's the Nastia Liukin story. There's a Usain Bolt story.
5 months after hanging up his cleats, Brett Favre is back as a quarterback with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, there's still a chance that they could move Brett Favre. I mean, there's talk about him going to Minnesota. And if you look at Hank Greenberg at AIG, I mean, he was unceremoniously pushed out of the company. He's still the largest shareholder of the company. He's selling off the $1 billion to build a competitor. So you could see Favre battling with Minnesota and Adrian Peterson in the backfield for a division championship against Green Bay. Talking about Green Bay fans, first of all. So that's slightly different, I think, than most shareholders across of America. They're more like Apple shareholders. They just love the brand, and they're going to support whatever happens there. Brett Favre is the Steve Jobs of Green Bay. But, they have to be thinking about transition. Brett, maximum, is going to play 1, maybe 2 more years. And so what are they going to do next? You got to start grooming the young talent.
Picking winners in college hoops is just as hard as picking winners on Wall Street. And in our Playing the Game segment, we get all the picks from all the experts.
Well, in the markets, the discount retailers, look, they're obviously going to perform better than the Targets of the world, a little higher end. But I'm still a little wary of what's going on in the marketplace. I don't think we're getting the full effect of inflation. I think FedEx told an interesting story last week that says we're going to be in this downturn for a slightly more prolonged period than people anticipated.
What are your final picks here for the Final Four? Ron?
I'm going to stick with what I had in my original bracket. I have UCLA, Tennessee, Memphis, and Wisconsin is my surprise pick.
How shocked were you guys to hear about this A-Rod call with Warren Buffett?
I think it's really interesting. It's neat how the great minds of baseball and the great minds of financial world come together. It's this clubby thing, and I think it's great. I think there's the misperception that A-Rod is this flashy guy. I mean, if you look at Derek Jeter, he's the guy that's out dating all the models and hobnobbing in Hollywood with all the superstars. Alex Rodriguez is a fundamental guy. He goes out there, he plays the game, concentrates on the fundamentals, and then you look at Warren Buffett. He's a fundamental investor. Warren Buffett's got Boris wrong values. I don't even think he invests in the Yankees. Again, he doesn't invest in these companies sort of at the top of the cycle, the flashy, the big players that spend a lot of money. He's more of a fundamental guy. He is an A-Rod investor. I mean, the guy is a proven performer throughout his career. He's going to go out there. He'll probably break the home run record. He's going to step up to the plate and be focused every time.
There are a lot of happy people waking up in Boston this morning. Not only did the Red Sox win another World Series, but the Yankees' 250 $52 million man, A-Rod, announced plans to opt out of a contract and test the free market.
You know, it's a scary moment when Yankee fans like myself wind up liking a Boston Red Sox team. It's a likable team. We were talking about Big Papi before we came on. This is the guy you want to have over Thanksgiving dinner. They are going to be around for a while. And, you know, a dynasty is, I think it's 3 and 4 years, and I think that team could do it.
What do you think about A-Rod's decision here to go free agency?
Well, I don't think it's about money. I mean, the guy had I think $72 million left on his contract that he opted out of. He doesn't want to be in New York. Hank Steinbrenner said it. He doesn't want guys who don't want to be here. So I think he's looking for another market where he'll get a little bit more love if he doesn't perform in the postseason. And that is not Chicago, by the way.
The New England Patriots are 7-0. Ron, what's going on? They're looking sensational. Doesn't look like anybody can play against them.
You look at Brady in the pocket, and he looks like the gods of football came down and anointed him the best quarterback ever. He's got this new guy, Randy Moss, to throw the ball to. It's kind of like Bill Gates throwing the Steve Ballmer. I think these guys can have an incredible ride. But I wouldn't discount the effect that Giselle may be having on this guy in the pocket. I mean, who knows?
But a little romance, a new baby, not too bad.
I think the analogy for corporate America is not the coach or the CEO, it's the talent market has changed.
Yeah.
At my company, Career Corps, we work with these young kids, these Y generation. They don't want to go to South Bend, Indiana anymore. They want to be out in LA at USC. You know, Leinart's dating Britney Spears out in LA. These guys are having a ball in Florida. The mystique of being at the old stable GEs, IBMs has changed. These young kids want to be at Google. They want to be at the Twitters, the startups of the world. Steinbrenner and Torrey had a relationship a lot like Sandy Weil and Jamie Dimon.
Yes.
Sandy Weil, the former CEO of Citigroup, Jamie Dimon, now the CEO of JP Morgan. They had an 18-year phenomenal run together, and then Dimon got jettisoned.
If he were a CEO, would he keep the job? Because he's made it to the playoffs. He's got some great numbers.
I think if he were CEO, he's gone.
Really?
You know, the Yankees are like the Google of sports. Google's expected to grow 30-40% in earnings a year.
Right.
You know, the Yankees are expected to get to the World Series and then win the game. And Joe hasn't performed. I think Sumner Redstone is Steinbrenner incarnate. I mean, Redstone has his Tom Cruise. Yeah. Steinbrenner has his A-Rod.
Yeah.
You know, Redstone has his Freston, and
Redstone even fired his own daughter, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And he might have even one up Steinbrenner. You know, he never fired anybody from the family. Maybe a son-in-law.
His son-in-law, but that doesn't really count. Right?
Yeah, but that's a great example.